Hi people, today we're going to be going over factorization. So in factorization, basically what we're looking for is factors between 2, 3 or 4, however many terms there are in an expression. So first off, we're going to start off with linear equations. So in a linear equation, we just have x to the power of 1. So we have 2x plus 4 in this example. So we know that 2 is a common factor between 2 and 4. So we're going to pull out the 2 and put then an x plus 2, because 2 times 1 makes us 2, and then 2 times 2 is 4. Now in the next example we have 3x plus 6. We're going to pull out a 3 because that's a common factor between 3 and 6. So then we get 3 into x plus 2, because we know that 3 times 1 gives us 3, and we know that 3 times 2 will give us 6. Now let's start off with quadratics. So in a quadratic, you could usually factorize this via the AC method. So in this example, we write it as ax squared plus bx plus c. Now in this example, we've got x squared plus 5x plus 6. So here, a is 1, b is 5, and c is 6. So here, ac is 1 times 6 and b is 5. Basically, what we're doing here is we're going to find two terms which times together to make AC and add together to make B. So here we need two terms that times together to make 6 and two terms that add together to make 5. So if we go through the factors of 6, we got 1, 2, 3 and 6. 2 and 3 both times together to make 6 and add together to make 5, so we know we've got the right factors. So now what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite x squared plus 5x plus 6 and rewrite the 5x in particular, saying that it's x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 6. So all we've done is we've just rewritten the 5x. Now we can factorize it linearly like we just did earlier. So we've got x into x plus 2 plus 3 into x plus 2. Now, a way of checking your answer to make sure you've done it right is that both of those brackets should be the same. And in this case, they are the same, so that means we've done it correctly. Now we pull out the bracket, which is x plus 2, and times by everything outside, which is x plus 3. Hence we get x plus 2 times x plus 3. Now in the next example, we have 2x squared minus 7x minus 15. Here a is 2, b is minus 7, c is minus 15. So we're going to say ac is minus 30 and b is minus 7. Now if we write out the factors for 30 and go through one by one, what we'll realize is that we use minus 10 and plus 3, then we'll add together to make minus 7 and times together to make minus 30. Now we can rewrite this, so we've got 2x squared minus 10x plus 3x minus 15. All we've done is just replace the minus 7x with a minus 10x plus 3x, and then we're going to factorize it out. So we're going to pull out a 2x, so we get x minus 5, and then we plus 3, pull out a 3, and then we get x minus 5. And the two brackets are the same, which means we've done it right. So all we do is we take that bracket, so we get x minus 5, and times it by everything else that's left over. So we get x minus 5 times by 2x plus 3. Now what you also need to know is sometimes we're not going to have just a typical ax squared plus bx plus c, but also sometimes we have no b, and we just have a and c. So here we have x squared minus 9. By the way, what the title should be is difference of two squares, not completing the square. That's something completely different. Please don't get confused. So we've got x squared minus 9. We're going to let a equal 1, b is 0, c is minus 9. So what we're going to write down is the factors of ac, which is 1, 3, 3, and 9. And because 3 are the common factors, we're gonna use x squared plus 3x and then minus 3x minus 9. Because remember, we have no b, so we're gonna write plus 3 and minus 3, so we get 0. And then what we do is we just factorize linearly like we did before. So we're going to do x squared minus 3x plus 3x minus 9, and then x into x minus 3 plus 3 into x minus 3. Now note the x minus 3 is common on both brackets, so we've done it correctly. So all we do is get that x minus 3 and everything outside, we just put it into the other bracket. So here we have x minus 3 and x plus 3. Note, however, when we're doing difference of two squares, what you'll realize is that it's just the square root of that number. So if we have, for example, root 9, it's just going to make us 3. So all we do is whenever we have in the form of x squared minus 9 or x squared, in this case minus 16, what we do is if it's a square number, and it's a negative sign, we can just do the square root of it and just do plus minus in both brackets. But if it's x squared plus 16, it will not work. So it's really important to identify that trend, that if you have a square number, just make sure that you can just factorize it straight away, because it's the difference of two squares. So it's x plus something, and then next bracket x minus something.